Most women believe men fall in love by choice. They don't. Men fall in love by trigger. Deep in every man's mind, there are three invisible switches, three emotional buttons that, when pressed in the right sequence, create a powerful and unforgettable bond. He begins to think about you during the day without knowing why. Your silence starts to echo louder than your words. He checks his phone, wondering if you've texted, and he can't explain why you've become impossible to forget. Before you roll your eyes and think this is some kind of manipulation, understand this. It's not about games or tricks. It's about emotional psychology. These are instincts most men don't even realize control their attraction. When you understand these triggers, you won't have to chase, convince, or perform. He'll be drawn to you naturally, emotionally, and deeply. Because love isn't random. It's coded. The first trigger is what I call the safety chaos switch. Most women believe men want peace. They do. But not the kind of peace that feels lifeless. A man's heart beats for balance, for peace with a pulse. He lives with two competing drives. One part craves stability, the other craves excitement. Give him only calm, and he will grow bored. Give him only chaos, and he will burn out. But give him both, the comfort of safety and the thrill of unpredictability, and you'll stay in his mind like a melody he cannot stop humming. I once knew a woman who was pure calm. She was kind, stable, and endlessly sweet. Being around her felt like resting in sunlight, but it also felt predictable. Then came another woman, all fire and storm. She was exciting, impulsive, and impossible to ignore, but being near her felt like living on a battlefield. The one who captured his heart was the woman who carried both. She made him feel at home and yet hungry for more. He never knew what would happen next, and that's what kept him hooked. This isn't about playing games or pretending to be hard to get. It's about rhythm, emotional rhythm. It's when you can make a man feel secure while still sparking his curiosity. When he feels, I'm safe with her, but I'll never stop wanting to understand her. That is the magic formula. You show affection, but you also have boundaries. You care, but you keep your own orbit. You're open, but never predictable. You don't need to broadcast your every thought or emotion. You let him wonder what's behind that soft smile. Because attraction isn't born from having the reward. It's born from anticipating it. Dopamine, the chemical of desire, spikes not when a man gets what he wants, but when he almost does. He doesn't crave what he already has. He craves what feels just slightly out of reach. When you embody both calm and intrigue, he doesn't just like you. He becomes addicted to figuring you out. That's the first psychological trigger. Peace mixed with pulse, safety entwined with mystery. That's the difference between she is nice and I can stop thinking about her. The second trigger is called the significance mirror. This is where real emotional addiction begins. Men don't fall in love with the prettiest woman in the room. They fall in love with the woman who makes them feel significant in ways no one else can. Every man carries a quiet question inside. Do I matter? He rarely says it aloud, but it drives his choices, his ambitions, and his love. Most women try to impress a man to win his affection. But the woman who becomes unforgettable flips the dynamic. She's the one who makes him feel like he's impressing her, not because she's manipulating, but because she genuinely sees his essence. Men don't crave flattery. They crave resonance. Flattery says, you're amazing. Resonance says, I love how your eyes change when you talk about something that excites you. See the difference? One feeds his ego, the other feeds his soul. When you notice the man behind the effort, his focus, his discipline, his quiet acts of care, you create a powerful emotional bond. Psychologists call this emotional significance, the sense of being seen beyond the surface. Once a man feels that with you, he will keep coming back for it like oxygen. But there's a fine line between admiration and auditioning. You're not his cheerleader. You don't have to celebrate every little thing he does as if he's a hero for doing dishes. True connection is built in the quiet moments, when he's not performing for you, but you still notice him. You say something simple like, "I love how calm you stay when things go wrong," or "I feel safe when you take care of things." Those words bypass his defenses and touch the part of him that longs to be valued for who he is, not what he has. Underneath every confident man is a fear of being replaceable. The woman who reflects his soul instead of his achievements becomes unforgettable. That is the second trigger, the significance mirror, where admiration turns into attachment and appreciation becomes addiction. Now for the third and final trigger, the vulnerability loop. If the first two triggers draw a man in, this one keeps him there. It's the secret key to emotional intimacy, and it's often misunderstood. Most women think they can make a man open up by saying, "You can talk to me." But that rarely works. To a man, that sounds like an emotional invitation wrapped in expectation. It makes him retreat further into silence. Men don't open up when they trust you. They open up when they see you trust them first. Vulnerability is contagious. When one person lowers the armor, the other instinctively follows. I once heard a story about a woman who told her partner, "You can tell me what you're feeling." Every time she said it, he withdrew a little more. Then she changed her approach. Instead of asking him to open up, she simply shared something small and honest about herself. Something imperfect but real. She said, "I get anxious when I don't know what's coming next, but I'm learning to be okay with it." No drama, no overexposure, just truth. That moment changed everything. Because he didn't feel pressure, he felt safety. Her vulnerability gave him permission to drop his own guard. Psychologists call this mirrored safety, the exchange of openness that releases oxytocin, the bonding chemical that deepens love and trust. This is why the most magnetic women don't demand emotional intimacy. They invite it by being emotionally grounded. You don't have to share your whole life story or overshare your wounds. You just need to show that your heart is open enough to be human. That's what builds trust. That's what keeps him coming back, not for validation, but for peace. Because when a man feels that he can relax his armor around you, when he no longer has to perform or pretend, something shifts inside him. He may not say it out loud, but his body knows it. His nervous system recognizes safety. And once a man feels that, every other connection feels like noise. That's the third trigger, the vulnerability loop, where attraction transforms into emotional dependence. Let's put it all together. The women men can't forget aren't the ones who chase, beg, or impress. They're the ones who evoke. They don't play games, but they understand rhythm. They give calm and chaos in balance, reflection and resonance in harmony, strength and softness in equal measure. Because men don't fall in love with perfection. They fall in love with emotional rhythm, the woman who makes them feel safe, alive, and deeply seen all at once. And when you learn to speak that emotional language, when you understand how to balance mystery with warmth, admiration with independence, and openness with boundaries, you'll never have to wonder how to keep a man's heart. His emotions will do the work for you. He'll chase not because you're unattainable, but because you make him feel something he can't explain. He'll come closer not because you ask, but because your presence gives him the one thing he never knew he needed, peace that still excites him. That's how you become unforgettable. That's how you make any man emotionally addicted to you, not through games or manipulation, but through psychology, grace, and power wrapped in feminine softness. Because men don't fall for women who have it all. They fall for the woman who makes them feel everything they've never been allowed to.